Are you recording?
I'm sorry?
Is it a written interview or a video interview or an
Video.
audio interview?
Video.
Video interview.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. You all right with that?
great. Yeah, sure.
Good.
Just
So,
need to know where to look.
yes, yes. I will let you know. I'm Suzanne from TVMEG.com.
Hello.
It's great to talk to you. I enjoyed the documentary. I'm a big Rocky Horror fan. Not
Thank you very much.
not a dress up and act out Rocky Horror fan because I was a little too young back then. But I had a friends I'm from San Diego, and I was living in Carlsbad, which is north of
Okay.
San Diego, and it was not playing where we lived. But I had friends that drove all the way down to San Diego, and some who lived down there, and they would go to the midnight showing. So I saw it once back then.
Okay.
But I love the music and everything. It's great, especially. So what made you want to do this documentary?
Oh well, I have to admit I wasn't a fan actually um, before I started it.
Mhm.
The same, basically the same as you. I saw it a couple of times when I was younger. I was like 14, 15. I saw it on VHS back in the day, but it never really appealed to me.
Mhm.
So I thought it was entertaining. The music was great. I listened to the music quite a lot, but it never really like spoke to me in
Mhm.
that way it speaks to other people.
Sure.
So I forgot about it for like 30 years.
Wow.
So fast forward 30 years, I heard a song on the radio, I think it was, and I was thinking what happened to the people who were involved in the film in the beginning, because everybody knows about the amazing careers of Susan Sarandon and Tim Curry, but the rest of the cast they kind of disappeared, at least from the international stage. So I thought it was a good idea to make something like a 30, 40 minute, like I would say a late making of. Fly to London, interview some of them, some of the people involved, do some shooting where they've shot the movie. And that was the beginning, actually. And as we started with our first interviews, we found out that Rocky Horror is a very, very interesting story. I mean, we're not talking about the script here
Right.
or the film. It's not so amazing, but the whole story from the genesis of the 1973 original play, which happened in the like very small 60-seat fringe theater in London, up until the global phenomenon which it is today. And the deeper we dug, the more interesting it got. And so after the first interviews, we decided, hey, there's more to the story than just the making of the film. And that's how it grew.
Okay. And so this was something that was just kind of a side thing for you, but you had a little bit of interest in it, and so you kept going. I know it took you quite a few years.
Yeah, we were actually working for 10 years on the production, 8 years of filming, and another 1.5 to 2 years for the post-production. Um, that's a documentary. The documentary has not been financed by anybody. So from the very beginning, it was just me and my cameraman, Gordon, and we were flying around on our own expenses and doing everything on our own expenses. And we treated it kind of like a pet project,
Hmm.
something you do in between paid jobs.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why it took so long, because of course we have to work for our money, and we did other commercial films, and every time we could spare like a week or two, we decided, hey, let's go to London, let's go to Australia, let's go to Los Angeles, let's go to New York, and film there. And yeah, that's basically the reason why it took so long. But on the other hand, the advantage for production taking that long is you dig very deep into a subject. It's
Hmm.
not like we're not interviewing like the first, or we don't have like the first row of stars in our
Hmm.
documentary, which you would obviously think about when talking about Rocky Horror. But we had the opportunity to make very very good connections. We dug very deep. We like kind of dug out people who've never been on camera before, who were involved in the production, either on stage or in the film. and let them tell the story, which makes it a little bit more interesting, I think, than just a a short-term documentary.
Right. And uh, when you're making a documentary, either this one or other ones, right, do you sit down and figure out like an outline or what you want to do? And did you do that with this one?
It was kind of a work in progress thing because, as I said, the deeper we dug, the more interesting it got, and so
Ah.
there were a lot of like passes we didn't see when planning the original documentary, a lot of topics we didn't see, and was getting more and more content, was getting more and more also contacts
Mm-hmm.
from people which we interviewed, the more interesting it got. So from the start, it's more or less impossible
Mm-hmm.
to write down a documentary of that scope because you're not aware of everything. You
Right.
can just like have an outline, and the basic outline, of course, we knew. From the very beginning of the production, we decided to go with a chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
So starting in 1973 up until the present. And then we started like following every path that would open to us. And
Wow.
yeah, it was an interesting experience.
So
But
the
you cannot
editing,
write something.
yeah, the editing must have been interesting. Were there a lot of things you had to cut out for time or
Yes,
a lot?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did like 80 interviews, I think, with shadow cast performers, with whole casts,
Mhm.
with people who were involved in the 1973 production, with people who were involved in the 1974 making of the film, with people involved in the Broadway production, which failed, and the Australian production in 1974. So at the beginning, when we edited first, I think the first version was like 5.5 hours long.
Yeah.
It was it was great, but
Wow.
that's kind of impossible to release or to publish. We actually thought about trying to sell it as a like limited series, like 4 or 5 episodes. But in the end, it was a good thing that we actually like burnt it down, boiled it down to the 100 minutes, which it is now, and for a documentary that's already very long.
Yeah.
So
I didn't find it to be long, but
there's a lot of information there. We have from the 80 interviews, I think we used like 40, 45. So there's a
wow.
lot of people, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things going on. And yeah, the editing was fun, but it was very hard because
Sure.
you've met so many people, and they're telling you very nice stories and very heartfelt stories, and in the end they won't maybe make it into the final cut, but that's the job of the editor. And
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
kill your darlings.
So, yeah, I learned a lot watching your documentary. I mean, I knew quite a bit of it already, but I didn't know that until I saw that Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick were dating at the time. See, so you learn something new every time you watch anything like this. I had read somewhere else that she went into the auditions. She was just there to visit a friend. I don't know if that was Barry or someone else, and she wasn't auditioning herself because she didn't think she could sing well enough. And
Oh,
again,
she's singing great.
yeah, I love her singing,
She's
but
a great
apparently she
singer.
didn't think she could, so she didn't go there to audition. But they said, "Hey, why don't you?"
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So in the '60s, when they started out working on this, I guess, I mean, I know they didn't get it on stage until '73, but I gather from your documentary they started working on it in the '60s.
No, it was sorry.
Was it the '70s?
No, I think I don't actually know
Mm,
when Richard O'Brien started thinking about it.
mm,
Um, it might have been a long time coming,
right,
but I mean, you think about an idea and then you forget about it, and then you
right,
rethink it again. It might have been, I don't know, late 60s, but I'm not sure. We don't have
right,
Richard O'Brien as an interview partner, so
right.
that would have been one of the questions I would have asked. But from what I understand, is the real concept really started in I think late 72.
Oh, okay.
And in early 1973, they started to work on it and like writing it down together with Jim Sharman. When Jim Sharman got the first script, I think it was very sketchy. It was like 14 or 15 pages, as he told us, and they were developing and structuring it together in 1973, and the casting took place in April in 73,
They got it together
and
pretty quickly once he brought,
yeah, they and
yeah.
yeah, and they rehearsed actually for only 3 weeks.
Okay.
And if you think about what happened within the 3 weeks, developing all the characters, developing all the look and feel we know now, I mean, the set design, even in a 60-seat Fringe theater, was amazing.
Yeah.
It was very, very creative. And Brian Thompson apparently is a brilliant designer. And everything grew within these like 3 weeks they had before in between the rehearsal and the premiere in June in 1973 at the theater upstairs.
So in that time, people, a lot of people didn't feel the same way they do now about people being gay or transvestite or anything like that. Did you ever hear about whether anyone in the cast felt odd about this play having those t type of overtones or anything, or was it just, I know it's different in the acting world, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, lots of people involved in the production are openly gay and have always never made a big secret about it. So I think in the world of talents and artists,
Hmm.
it's not such an issue.
Right.
And also in the filming process, I know that some of the people, even some gay couples within the cast and production team, were dating at that time.
Okay.
And so I think within the cast, it wasn't a problem. It became a little bit problematic actually when they presented the. And also you have to, if you go a step back in 1973 in London,
Mhm.
everything was much more open
Mm.
than in 1975 in North America when the
Right.
film opened.
Right.
So at that time, I think the more like conservative society
Yeah.
of North America who saw the film or the stage play on the Broadway, they were more shocked than the people in 1973 in London.
Right. Especially older people probably because I know people my age didn't have a problem with it. I was in California, but older people did.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the music book with all the pictures in it, the piano vocal score. So I was taking voice lessons and we did some of the song. My voice teacher didn't have any trouble with it. But I
Okay.
showed it to my choir director in high school and he was like, "Oh, what is this crap?" He's
Yeah.
a man in lingerie. He's like, "Oh, what is it?" I'm like, "It's a musical. It's really good."
Yeah.
Hopefully he's changed his mind by now, but he's old, so.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I didn't know anybody back then who had trouble with it other than that one guy. He's very conservative. But so the movie premiered in September of 75, and the Broadway debut was in March of 75. Is that unusual
Mhm.
to have a movie in theaters so quickly? Or I mean, it was almost if the Broadway show had been successful, they would be I suppose running concurrently. Was that unusual back then?
No, I don't think so. I don't
No?
think so. I mean, it was at that time it was more or less unusual to make a film out of a musical. That
Hmm.
doesn't happen so often. Today they make musicals out of films, but at that time it was a natural progression, I think. And they filmed
I
the
no, I know.
film The Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I was gonna say they usually though, but didn't they usually they had the Broadway show and usually that was a big hit, and then later they'd make it into a musical, like they did with Annie,
yeah,
which was around that same time, or Chorus Line, things like that.
yeah.
It was so
No,
quick with Rocky Horror.
the thing about it was that Rocky was so successful in London and in Australia and in Los Angeles that they had to bring it on Broadway, onto Broadway. And you cannot wait for a year or two to release it on Broadway after it
Mhm.
ran in Los Angeles. So they had to use the time frame, and the time frame which they used was doing the stage play in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Then they went out to London to do the filming, and during and the filming took place in I think it was from September or beginning of October until December. So they had a very very short time
Right.
to do the film because the budget was so limited.
Mhm.
They did it within like I think 45 days, 50 days. And so when the film went into the post-production process, into editing,
Mhm.
they took the chance and go to Broadway and introduce it to the as a stage show to New York, which apparently failed big time.
Right. So do you think
So
that
did the
had any
movie.
effect? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think the play failing in America had anything to do with the movie failing?
I don't think that they are necessarily connected, but they have, of course, the same causes.
Hmm.
So the movie failing was the same reason why the stage play at Broadway failed because people did at the time they did not understand it.
Right.
You know, if you take theaters like the Roxy or the Upstairs or all the more or less like hipper
Hmm.
kind of theaters in London, in Australia, and in Los Angeles. The people going there were much more open-minded.
Right.
And as some of the people say, we have in the interviews, is what Los Angeles was a party. People came there to party. They loved the
Right.
music. They played around with the cast on stage and all that stuff. And introducing it to Broadway actually they had a complete different audience. The
Yeah.
audience at on Broadway was very, very conservative. It's almost like middle class. People
Yeah.
go there to watch, for example, Annie, as you said earlier, and it went over their heads. Actually, they didn't understand what was going on. They were intimidated by a character like Frankenfurter, who's sleeping with first the girlfriend of one of the main characters, then with the main or one of the characters, then with Brett
Yeah.
himself. Before that, he killed Eddie, and so
Yeah.
and he's running around. He's wearing heavy makeup, and he's running
Yeah.
around and in fishnets, and he has built his like puppet for his sexual satisfaction. So
Right.
people did
Yeah.
not understand.
Uh,
They neither understand it when it was on Broadway, and they did not understand it when the film came out. Because when the film came out, it ran in family theaters
right.
where people at the time used to watch like regular movies, whatever Star
Yeah.
Wars, Jaws, or whatever
Right.
whatever was hip at that time, and they didn't understand it, so it failed both on Broadway and on in the cinema
Yeah.
when it first came out.
So, is there anything that you wish that you could have added to your documentary that maybe you left out for time or some other reason? Or did you get everything you
Um,
in there?
yeah, of course I wish I would have had more time because we have very, very touching stories
Mhm.
from the fans, from the current Shadowcast. They really opened their hearts to us, and their stories are very interesting and they are very touching. And also, we had to leave out certain aspects of the production. So, for example, we had to leave out the whole Australian run.
Mm.
And one thing we had also leave out was very or many very interesting stories, like kind of bloopers, kind of funny things, kind of background information, which happened during the filming.
Hmm.
So we had to limit everything to
Sure.
like certain size, certain duration, not exceeding 10, 12, 15 minutes, which could have really gotten like 45 minutes
Hmm.
or 15 minutes. But if you tell a story over a time span of 5 decades, you have to like put it into small chunks
Right, right.
for
So,
people to
why
tolerate.
did you have to leave out Australia? Was it illegal?
Um,
Or-
No, 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 no. It wasn't legal. We had very nice interviews with the cast who actually did the original show in Australia. But the story diverted at that point. You know, the story from Rocky Horror is like London, Los Angeles, film, Broadway,
Mhm.
and going to Australia, like you diverted the whole story and would have made
Oh,
it a little
okay.
bit more complicated. The run was a very huge success actually in Sydney when they first introduced it. And the person who played Frankenfurter, Rich Livermore, at that time was completely different kind of Frankenfurter compared to the Frankenfurter we know now, because he
Right.
never saw Tim Curry, he never saw the film because it wasn't made at the time. So he
Right.
interpreted it completely differently.
Ah, gotcha.
So it's
Was
very interesting, and if we would have gone the path, it would have been even more complicated,
mhm.
and also we would have had to cut out other things in the story which we felt was more important for the whole
Sure.
genesis of Rocky Horror than the Australian production. So it was hard to actually cut it out, but we had to.
Wasn't Russell Crowe in that for a while?
Yes,
I
that's what
thought so.
Cole was there actually. Yeah, yeah. That's a story we had to leave out as well. So
Yeah.
Daniel Aveneri, the director at the time, he told us the story when Russell Crowe, under the stage name of Russell LeRock, actually auditioned, and but that was much later. That was not the original run from Rocky
Oh,
Horror, but it was a later run.
I think he
So.
started in New Zealand doing Rocky Horror, and then he went over to Australia, didn't he? I think I'm.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, we hope that we have all the stories on tape, and we hope at a certain point in time that we will be able to like publish it on social media as bonus material, or put it on DVD or something,
That'd be
so
great.
that
Yeah.
it won't get lost completely.
Right. And so you didn't really mention shock treatment. Is that was just you didn't want to
And
go
it's
down
another
that path?
story.
Yeah, another
Yeah,
story.
that's another story which would have diverted everything, because shock treatment came in 1982,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly, and adding that to the story would even make it more complicated.
Right, right.
So
But
that's one of the things. But actually, we didn't ask too many people about it. I
right.
think Jim Sharman talked a little bit about it, because there were only a few people involved in shock treatment that also were
In
in the
Rocky
Rocky
Horror.
Horror Picture Show. Pat Quinn was in there. I think a few of the Transylvanians were in there, and Jim Sherman was the director,
Hmm.
and Richard O'Brien was in there,
Right.
but Tim Curry wasn't in there. Susan Sarandon wasn't in,
Yeah.
and
That's
Barry
probably
Bostwick wasn't in that.
why it failed,
So
the
that,
lack of the stars and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the music wasn't as good, I didn't think, but I don't know. I
It
watched
depends.
it. It's all right.
Some people say it's better. Some
Really?
people say it's not better. But it's a very strange. It's for me, it's a strange film. I didn't really understand it. It
Yeah.
was too much ahead of its time. You
Mm.
know, you were talking about, or the storyline is from 1982, and what actually happened was beginning or mid of the 90s,
Hmm.
when scripted reality and all that stuff came in.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was. We thought about it, but it would have made things even more complicated, and so we thought, okay, leaves that part out as well.
Okay, so I have one more question about the film or about your film. Sorry,
Sure.
but do you think Meatloaf would have been as big a rock star as he became after this, if not for Rocky Horror?
I don't know. I
No?
can't tell, because I'm not familiar with the story and the genesis of Rocky of Meatloaf, as it was. I mean, he's a fantastic singer.
Hmm.
He's a fantastic singer, and I think that Rocky Horror, of course, was a stage for him, or to present himself as a singer, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, his appearance is like what, 4 minutes, then he gets killed. But everybody said, "Whoa, what happened there?
Yeah,
Who's that?
it made an impression.
Who has that voice?" And
Yeah.
so yeah, of course, it's an amazing appearance, but I can't actually, because I'm not too familiar with the career of Meatloaf,
Okay.
so I assume that it was a stepping stone.
Yeah, he was he 70s and 80s. He was big for a while.
Yeah, yeah, and
Big
I do
hits.
remember him, and I know about
Yeah,
Bed Out of Hell and all these records he made, and of course
right.
I know him. But in between Rocky and the start of his career, I don't really know what happened. So
Okay.
not
Okay.
much of an expert there.
That's fine. I just wanted your opinion. It's good. It's all good. So, what's next in store for you? Do you have other documentaries that you're working on?
No, not at the moment. We are still working because our release is on September 25,
Right.
which is not far away. It's like 2 weeks, and so we
Sure.
have to prepare everything and get all the graphics done and everything what is needed from the technical side, doing all the interviews and preparing everything what's needed to have a successful launch. So once this is done, I think I'll be occupied with the whole production until Halloween, because we have a lot of things coming up until Halloween, and hopefully after Halloween everything will calm down, and then I think about doing another project.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry I messed up the time for you.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, it got a little bit dark.
Oh,
I
that's
just
fine.
realized that I'm
Yeah,
sitting
no, it's
completely
fine.
in the dark.